G'day everyone, I'm Smokescreen and welcome back to another video, and welcome finally to the video surrounding the last round of the Toyota Gazoo Racing GT Cup for 2022. Of course, back on Gran Turismo 7, plenty going on with this game at the moment. We're just going to focus on this little shorter video today, and you'll kind of see as the video goes on why it's shorter. But we're here at an interesting combination, actually, a combination that I quite enjoyed. We're using the brand new Toyota GR010 Hybrid, the brand new hypercar that's been added to GT7, and we're here at Le Mans. So it's a Group 1 car, of course. So Group 1 at Le Mans, this is my combo. This is what I would have referred to in GT Sport as my specialty combination. I always seem to go well here, so let's see if we can try and replicate that. I will apologise quickly for the short hiatus. I came down with quite a bad flu. I think there's some weird flu going around where I live, as there's a car off on the left hand side during this first flying lap. But yeah, no, I got a bit of a bad flu. It kind of really shut me down for a good week and a bit, but I think I'm finally starting to get back into it, which is good. We're going to continue on with this one. So this is the end of the first flying lap here today, and it's a 319.1. It's a little bit off the pace, I'll be completely honest. You can see Twitchy's put down a 316.3. I probably would have been like, I probably would have liked to be maybe within a second and a half of Twitchy there. So really I'm looking to dip into the 17s, but we'll see what we can do as we head through this second flying lap. Let's see if we can actually survive this qualifying lap here in the dark. So I was actually caught out by the fact that we're in the dark now, as we almost completely cut to Rouge at the top of the circuit, but we begin to head southwards. We're going to fast forward down these straights, of course, because there's nothing going on apart from me going in a straight line. What we can talk about actually is kind of the performance of this car. It's quite an interesting car, actually. I think when we were practicing for this combination, there was a little bit around, you know, people saying the car felt a bit weird to drive, and it kind of does, I'll be honest, but it doesn't feel like too alien. It's just like a very, it's definitely tuned to go fast down the straight. It's got a bit of hybrid, as you can see the little battery that's inside the fuel gauge on the bottom left. It's going to be recharging under brake and deploying under heavy acceleration. But it's definitely a straight line machine, and it doesn't go too well in the corners, so I think it's overall a low downforce car, but it kind of fits or suits Le Mans here. As you can see, quite a large number of long straights here, obviously. As we head through that sector split there, that's half a second up on our 319.1. We probably still want to be a little bit more up, if that doesn't sound too dirty, but as we head through the fast flowing section here at the Porsche curves now, we've got to just make sure we get the car turned in, make sure we don't sort of exceed the limits and end up off the track. 0.6 up through the sector split, halfway through the Porsche curves, and turn in nice and early for this last left-hander, as it's so easy to run wide out on the exit, get yourself dirty tyres or a penalty, which obviously would not be what you want heading into these forward chicanes. You're going to need all of the grip you can and cut as much of the chicane as possible. Head through this last part all over the curbs, no penalty, as long as you keep two wheels on the curb. And as we head up across the line, that's a much better lap. It's 2 seconds off Twitchy there. I would have liked to be a little bit closer, but I think overall it's not too bad of a lap at the end of the day. Provisionally 5th, but we'll see where that puts us once we meet ourselves on the grid. Oh, it's dark. It's actually going to be dark into turn 1. And as we meet ourselves on the grid, we find it's going to be a dark start to the race. So there's a couple of factors that makes it being dark particularly dangerous. We do indeed start 5th, by the way. It's a standing start, of course, as you can see. But why did the darkness make it so difficult? It's because we're actually on a different tyre than what we were in qualifying. We've got to make sure we head into turn 1 and not slam into the back of Sidorg, McEwen or Andrew or Twitchy, because I do not want to ruin any of those 4 individuals' races. Much faster drivers than me, and it would not be fair on them if I ran into the back of them. Meta 7 actually gave me a little bit of a run for my money for this 5th position off the start. but I was able to just about defend that as I had the inside for the second part of the Dunlop chicane. Oh, a little bit out of shape as we're heading up towards Rouge, and I've just completely run wide and off the track. Meta 7's right on my back bumper. Oh, slight bit of contact, but nothing too much to worry about. Oh, we earn ourselves a half-second penalty for running off the track. So the reason the start of this race was so difficult, I was just about to talk about it earlier, but I kind of got caught up in the action at the start. We're on a different tyre than what we were in qualifying. In qualifying, we ran the racing medium tyre, so the middle compound that had the medium amount of grip, hence the name medium. But the hard was also available for this combination, and I believe the hard was required. Once again, Gran Turismo 7 suffers a similar problem to Gran Turismo Sport. The races are never long enough to warrant the massive pit stop loss that is present at a lot of the tracks in the game. And GT7 is the same, GT Sport was the same, and what it means is that basically we try to avoid as many pit stops as possible, and unfortunately in this case it means, yes, another no stop on the hards. The gap's opened up behind, so there's been a little bit of a coming together with somebody behind, and it's opened up the gap to 2.7 seconds. Given that we're sort of coming up to the phase where we're going to serve our penalty, a little bit of a gap behind is not so much of a bad thing. So I think it was Meta 7 that was right behind me, and something has obviously happened to him because he's ended up leaving the race. So I'm not sure whether he may have had an equipment failure actually, if I remember seeing the replay correctly. But we find ourselves in 5th, coming up to the point in the race we're going to serve this penalty. You can see very deep there. We find ourselves on the hard tyre, of course, so they're a little bit cold at the start of the race as well. Given the fact we're in the dark, it makes it very, very difficult, very, very treacherous at the start of this race because we've got no light, can't see anything, no grip, so I can't feel anything, and we're also like, it's not even no grip as in the tyres are just cold, it's no grip because we've got a less grippy compound. So quite a difficult start to this race. We served that penalty at the start, or at the start of that straight there in the penalty gate. Sidorg also had a penalty, interestingly, so I was kind of just sitting here at this stage just thinking, all I got to do now is just keep as close to Sidorg as possible because the gap's opened up behind. It's 2.5 seconds and it's Darren who is behind. That gap is opening up significantly on the exit of the Porsche curves. So I wasn't too worried about an assault from behind. All I had left was to try and gain a position from Sidorg. I will say recently I've been showing signs of being on Sidorg's pace. Oh, we make a complete... Damn it, I counter-steered when I didn't need to. Don't give me a bloody penalty for that. Made a complete hash of the exit of the chicanes. Actually, I counter-steered when I didn't need to. I thought the car was going to oversteer, but it didn't. But anyway, that just puts us off the back of Sidorg a little bit. We've lost about half a second to him. But what I was saying is that recently, especially so, I've been showing some signs of kind of being similar to Sidorg's pace. Not quite on it. Oh, a bit of oversteer through there, and that was scary. But yeah, I've been sort of not too far off Sidorg in the recent past, so I knew that sort of just trying to keep as close to him as possible here was all I could really do. And that's all that really happened. We set some consistent lap times there, so we've skipped ahead to lap 5. You can see it's now gone into the morning. We've set some 323s and a 322 on lap 4, so not quite maximising that opening stint. But then we make this mistake of just spun on my own. I've just lost it out of a corner. And I can tell you, it is a long time since I've just spun like that on my own. One of the things I focus on in my driving is just keep the oversteer under control. Don't lose control of the car and spin out. And I got into a pretty good, I don't really know what the word is, rhythm? Pretty good habit in GT Sport of not doing it. I would often end up driving off the track rather than spinning out. But in GT7, I've done it a couple of times. I did it at Suzuka in Group 2 a little while back, and I've done it here as well. Just complete unforced errors. Absolutely unforced here because I had no cars around me. Sidorg was about 7.5 seconds up the road. It's now opened up to 16 seconds, and Hyperdrift is now 5 seconds behind. But you can see it's quite a lonely race, so the only thing I'm disappointed in myself with is the fact that I ended up spinning because I shouldn't have spun. I've done all my practice there without spinning. I've done 4 laps of the race without spinning, and I've spun on lap 5. So I'm disappointed in myself that I spun. But apart from that, I'm lucky to be in the position here that I was when I spun, because I wasn't sort of in prime position to lose a further position from making a big mistake like that. But towards the end of the race, we're going to skip ahead to the end because, as you can see, it's quite a boring race out on my own. Once we got through lap 1, it was really just the gaps opened up. We managed to come across the line in 5th. Oh, I mean, what a boring race. Mad that I spun, though. I want to start that habit. It's hard to get dialed in this game. I've never been able to get that feeling I could get in GT Sport. So in the debrief there, I referred to the feeling that I got in GT Sport, and that referred to kind of the groove I got in sometimes. On some combinations in GT Sport, I was able to just drive the car bloody perfectly. We bring home 272 points for there, so I can't actually be too disappointed with that. The only disappointment is that the fact I spun, but I was lucky not to lose a position out of it. But yeah, no, in GT Sport, especially around this track, Le Mans, and then I think even Suzuka in Group 4 towards the end of the life cycle of GT Sport, in particular, comes to mind when I sort of think of being really ultra comfortable, just like precise, accurate, not making mistakes. It's just lap after lap, consistent, quick laps as well. But I haven't been able to find that groove in GT7 at the moment. I don't know whether that's the physics or whatever, but you know, it is quite difficult, and this sort of combination is one where I should have been able to find that groove, and I simply didn't. And I mean, you can see from the random spin I had with no other cars around me that I'm obviously not feeling too comfortable. So it's something I'm going to have to learn. It's something I'm going to have to sort of get past and learn to deal with. Obviously in GT7 we actually have temperature, so the ambient temperature affects the car, the wind direction affects the car. So there are a couple of different elements that, while they may seem subtle, they sort of add on and compile and make the car feel a little bit different depending on what direction the wind is in, or how high the temperature or how low the temperature is, none of which were present in GT Sport. And obviously the physics here are quite a bit different, so it's still learning, we're still getting into the rhythm of things, and for this particular combination I kept that 272 point result. I wasn't going to throw that away simply because I was dissatisfied that I spun, because I didn't even lose a position, so it's not like I could have gone any better by going again. But that's actually going to be the end of this one today, a little short one. It's been a little while since I've done a short video, and I know some of you prefer it, so here you go. I'm pleasing you guys today. Goodness me, that sounded a bit how you going. We're going to end it here before this goes any further down this rabbit hole I seem to be digging myself, so do hit the like button if you enjoyed, and do subscribe if you'd like to see more videos and streams from me. Do leave a comment as well, as questions, comments and constructive criticism, as always, very much appreciated. But that's going to be the end of this one today, and that means that is it from me. So once again, I do thank you very much for watching. See you later.